If you're into strategy and management games like I am, this is your weekly dose of the stuff that matters. Every Monday, I'll be covering the stories that the bigger channels often miss, including news, reviews, and what's actually worth playing this week. From city builders and colony sims to complex strategy and tactical games, and everything else in between, I'll be showcasing the games that deserve your attention. So let's get into it. So starting off with some exciting news in the city building worlds, with some recent news coming from City Masterplan. For those unaware, this is that potential rival to City Skylines 2 that seems almost too good to be true, mostly because it's coming with a true one-to-one scale of all the buildings, cars, and everything else, so many are claiming it's not a real game. But the good news is that I'm part of a small group of people in the devs Discord server, and they recently held their first AMA. I won't bore you with all the answers, you can find them in the description. I'll just give you some few highlights. First is the graphics quality presets. The devs mentioned that they plan on implementing these settings at launch to ensure the game runs smoothly, because as you might know, the game's running on the Unreal Engine. Also, someone else asked about seeing a non-square based zoning mechanic, and the devs mentioned that that's what they'll be using, which will help fill in areas more efficiently, which is great because those can be quite a headache. Anyways, it's great to see that they are actively taking in ideas and working on the project, so hopefully we'll see more from it soon. Next up in space strategy news, Nebula's Fleet Command is getting a rather big update. The game came out in 2022, it's still in early access though, so it's great to see the devs Eridanus Industries making progress. The campaign update build comes with some great new features that include 16 missions across the first acts of the campaign in either single player or in co-op, persistent ship damage, fuel and ammo consumption, trading with stations and boarding abandoned ships to harvest resources, as well as a campaign editor to make your own campaigns, which is very cool. The update is dropping on the 29th of May, so if you're a fan of that intense spaceship combat and felt it was lacking a bit in some places, then this update might be worth checking out. Last week, we also saw the Warhammer Skulls event that happens every year. That came with a whole bunch of different Warhammer news. First up, some great news. Warhammer 40k Dawn of War 4, the highly anticipated real-time strategy game, finally locked down a firm release date of September 17th of this year for PC. Developed by King Art and published by Deep Silver, the campaign will return to the war-torn planet Cronus, and yeah, if you're an RTS fan, make sure to set your calendar for that. Then came the reveal of a Chaos Gate Daemon Hunters sequel called Chaos Gate Deathwatch, which is coming for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, and it's looking pretty cool. Developed by Complex Games, it'll be building on the strategy gameplay of the previous installment, with a refined class system and a wide array of customization options. And then to celebrate the festival, Proxy Studios and Slytherin made their deep combat-focused 4X strategy game Gladius Relics of War 100% free to keep on Steam this week. Even though it came out in 2018, it's still being played by thousands of players and it's sitting with very positive reviews. So if you're a fan of games like Civilization but you want it in the Warhammer universe, maybe go check it out. And lastly, they released Mechanicus II, but I'll be covering that in the review section coming up. Continuing with the sci-fi trend, Stellaris is finally adding a feature that the devs previously claimed was flat out impossible. Set for a release on the 15th of June, the upcoming Nomads DLC is introducing nomadic empires that ditch traditional planets to live entirely aboard massive mobile arc ships. You'll be able to choose different starting classes like civilian, military, or scientific, and then use them to build megastructures or run deep scans. So instead of just claiming systems, you'll be able to build way stations to gather resources and automatically create interstellar trade routes called waylines. You'll also get 4 new origins in the DLC that include the Sacred Path, which is this fleet of pilgrims, adepts and acolytes all seeking enlightenment. It's great to see that the devs are pushing the engine to its limits to give us just a totally fresh way to play. So if you've been wanting to live out the ultimate space wanderer fantasy, definitely keep your eye out on this one, which should be out on June 15th. Then for some turn-based tactics news, we're getting a little bit of an update in Menace. For those unfamiliar, this is the sci-fi game from the makers of Battle Brothers, where you get to play as space police dealing with aliens and rebels. In this update, we we are finally getting heavy armor added to the game with 2 types of tanks. And since the game has this realistic ballistic system where your infantry just gets shredded out in the open, these tanks are a big deal because they can act as literal moving walls for cover. But also in this update, the cost of failure just got way higher. If you lose a planet to the enemy now, the allied faction on the surface gets completely wiped out, meaning you'll lose access to all their special high tier gear for the rest of their campaign. They also added 3 new ways to trigger a brutal game over, including letting your authority stats drop too low or running completely out of squad leaders. Clearly, they don't like you having fun. It's great to see overhyped studios fleshing out the content in early access, even if the game is going to be a bit more stressful now. But hey, at least we got tanks. Moving on to some recent releases, first up is Steel Artery, the steampunk colony sim that had me very interested ever since I played the demo. It's set in the steampunk fantasy world where you'll be playing as a newly appointed mayor to the city on wheels to give it a second life and restore its glory. So you'll be going full steam ahead as you build up your city on a train with wagon-based development. When it first came out, it was sitting with an 89% of positive reviews, but now it's dropped to mixed ratings. So sure, it is a lot of fun and it's got a unique take on the city building colony sim genre. However, there are some complaints, mainly with the game still not 100%. It comes with quite a few bugs that need fixing, but luckily the dev has addressed this and will be releasing some upcoming patches for some quality of life improvements coming soon. I still think keep your eye on it, because if you are a fan of colony sims, then this is still one to watch. Up next is a hotel architect management game inspired by games like 2 Point Hospital, The Sims, and even Roller Coaster Tycoon. So yes, it's not new, but Hotel Architect came out of early access this month, where in the game you'll be the creator of your very own hotel, which offers a variety of international locations from Sweden to Las Vegas. Now, the devs did intend for the game to be relaxing and fun rather than challenging. However, things will still go wrong, like a guest can be upset about anything. But overall, this adds to the fun of it all. At the moment, it's sitting with very positive reviews on Steam, and fans are finding it very fun and addictive, especially if you enjoy that management style of gameplay. There are some bugs that still need to be sorted out, but overall, it is a lot of fun. So if you enjoy the games from the 2 Point franchise, management games that don't take themselves too seriously, then maybe go check it out today. Another game that came out last week is this roguelike deck builder called Rune Dice that is set in this ancient world where magic and physics set the tone. Your strategies and abilities will be tested in each location, with each of them bringing different challenges and different bosses. The game will give you that deck building gameplay in these bite-sized sessions in order to create mystical chain reactions. Each play can trigger various combos using dice attacks, relic bonuses, or rune abilities. There's also a lot of cool things for you to unlock as you progress through this mystical procedurally generated world, and as you get stronger and stauncher, you take on many and not so many bosses. It's currently sitting with very positive reviews on Steam, and some even saying it's as addictive as Slay the Spire or even Balatro. So if you're looking for your next addictive deck builder, Rune Dice might just be the one. Then on the 21st of May, Warhammer 40k Mechanicus came out, one of the most anticipated sequels of all time. In the original Mechanicus, you got to play as the techno-religious cyborgy acolyte, where the enemy were the Necrons, but this time around, you get to play as those Necrons in order to liberate their tomb world from Adeptus Mechanicus interlopers who moved into their territory. Now, overall, the game is very solid, it's a lot of fun. However, it's sitting with mixed reviews on Steam. Now, I think that's because they made a lot of changes to the original. They swapped out some of the gameplay mechanics that made the first stand out, so that makes it more interesting, but a lot of fans of the original are not happy, so hence the mixed reviews. However, it's still a lot of fun to play and still worth checking out, especially if you enjoy your turn-based tactical gameplay. Then on the 22nd of May, Possible 1 Lunar Industries came out, which is this interesting take on the colony management genre. The game is set on the moon and incorporates real-world technologies, and the devs don't consider it science fiction and claim it's based on a lot of realism. In the game, you're this commander of a ship on a very important mission, where you have been tasked to travel to the moon and set up your very first lunar colony. So in the game, you'll need to mine and refine resources to be sent back to Earth. This means building houses, providing food, and managing the psychological status of your colonists. So even though there aren't a lot of reviews, it's sitting on a very mixed rating right now. Many are saying it is a lot of fun to play, but it's a bit too early in the early access phase and needs a lot of quality of life features and some bug fixing. But if you are a fan of colony sim and city building management, maybe still keep your eye out on this one. Enough with the reviews. What is coming out this week? Well, first up is Paralives, which has been the potential Sims rival that I've been so looking forward to. It's a real-life sim about building homes, lives, and connections. The gamer has called it a promising early access start, not too taxing, charming, and includes unique mechanics and features. While PC Gamer mentioned that even though it's in early access, its potential is blinding with the bones of something incredible. So much like The Sims, you'll need to create a new life for yourself with a lot of townsfolk to potentially befriend or fight with or maybe even fall in love with. The gridless construction allows you to build your house with curved walls, split levels, and a whole lot more. The game will also come with mods available to edit and to add new content to the game. So whether you want to focus on your career or build up a family, this game has it all. Paralives is coming out into early access for PC on the 25th of May, and if you're a Sims fan, this might be the one to watch. Then coming up next is a fast-paced action game called Enter the Chronosphere. This is a turn-based bullet hell roguelike where time only moves when you do. I featured it before in my Next Fest video, where I compared it to Superhot meets Enter the Gungeon set in this isometric perspective, and it is a lot of fun. In the game, you'll be controlling someone in this crew of misfits, with this bear being my favorite. You can just smash up the place, but you'll get to use a bunch of crazy weapons and gadgets to take down some wild alien creatures. You'll play on these planet-like chronospheres, fighting your way through each level to reach its core, with each one being harder than the last, and I must say the visuals are trippy and very cool. Enter the Chronosphere is coming to early access for PC on the 25th of May, so if you're a fan of turn-based roguelike action, then this one might be the one to watch. Now to get deep into some mining management, up next is Deep Corp or Deep Core, depending on how you want to say it. This charming indie title with its 2D setting is all about digging mines, extracting resources, and producing goods to restore your order to the state. It comes with various automation mechanics where you'll be sending resources like copper and lead that you find in the ground up into these various warehouses using tunnels and conveyor belts. It reminds me very much of the game Turmoil, except now instead of oil, you'll be dealing with other stuff you find in the ground. Deep Corp is coming into early access for PC on the 26th of May and is for players who love their management titles where you just want to mine and grind your way to success. Then coming out on the 27th of May is Starminer, a game I'm so looking forward to, where it's a simulation sandbox in space where you'll be able to design and build an enormous intergalactic fleet. And once it's ready, you'll go on to conquer the galaxy. You'll be mining resources and just going full-on capitalist in this universe, making profits as you strip the galaxy of every last mineral. But if you get too carried away, it might gain the attention of some unwanted alien visitors. In the game, you'll build bases, deploy warships, and defend your empire. This all seems very promising, and the idea of building up your fleet piece by piece, module by module, it's a lot of fun to me. Starminer is coming to PC in early access on the 27th of May, and if you love anything space related, this is the one to watch. And then for the last game that's coming out this week that looks very promising, it's Echo Generation 2, which is the sci-fi deck building RPG. It starts out as your typical family vacation, but then it drastically unfolds into a sci-fi Knives Out type of game in which you need to solve bizarre mysteries. You'll uncover alternate realities, hidden experiences, and a whole lot more, where you'll be playing as 6 different heroes, each with unique abilities, decks, and playstyles. From there, you'll be building up your crew through mastering strong decks and dealing devastating attacks. The original was a lot of fun, and this one looks like it's gonna be improving on it. Echo Generation 2 is coming out on the 27th of May for PC, and looks like a lot of fun, especially if you enjoy the cyberpunk vibe with the deck building mechanics. And then for my final section that I'm calling Wishlist This Now, here is a game called Steam to Electric. Now it's from the makers of Station to Station and Town to City, where these devs know how to make great looking voxel based management games. So in this game you'll need to transport passengers and goods, unlock crazy but real historical train inventions, and evolve from Steam, you guessed it, to Electric. There's no set release date yet, but I'm not concerned because Town to City is still growing, still a fantastic game, so hopefully they'll still continue working on that, but it's great to see that this is going to be their next game. But that wraps up the news for this week. Let me know if you know of anything else that's going on, but for now I'd just like to say a huge shout out to my channel members. You guys mean so much to me. But other than that, it's Marco here from Easily Distracted Games, and as always, don't stop gaming.